We got round 2 of the 2025 MLS Cup Playoffs on the docket for today's video. Going to be predicting, previewing how we think each of these 4 insanely juicy matchups are going to play out. Some underdogs have made it through. We're going to also talk about a little bit which side of the bracket might be looking a little bit easier. And we think about a path all the way to the MLS Cup final. We're going to talk about it all right? So if you haven't done so already, if you're new to the channel, again, check out the content, check out the videos. We've been talking about MLS all season, getting very, very close to that MLS Cup final. So if you're brand new, again, check us out, subscribe down below. Promise you're going to enjoy it all the way through. Now, before we get to any of that, lads, it's a massive, massive week, all right? We're coming towards the tail end of the international break. You guys can see my jacket there at home. U.S. has coming off of a massive 5-1 victory over World Cup-bound Uruguay, and I have to talk about it, bro. We have to talk about it. Biggest reason why is because there were MLS players, bro, on display, showing out, running the show. You can argue from a number of perspectives.
Lazy MLS players.
Lazy MLS players, according to some. We're going to talk about it, bro. I had to tweet about that the minute that the result came through. But look, man, I want to get everybody's opinion, and that includes you at home. So again, fire off in the comments down below when we talk about some of these mini topics as we prepare for the preview and predictions of the round 2 matches. So let's get into mini topic number 1, guys. This game had 3 different MLS players showing out and getting on the score sheet. And it got away from us so early, bro. I was tweeting, if anybody saw me, I was tweeting trying to figure out if this was like an overperformance by the U.S. men's national team, if it was Uruguay shitting the bed. Still can't figure it out, but I'm very happy with the result. How do we feel? Let's put it this way. How did you first guys feel about seeing the lineup, seeing the MLS players that Poch decided to play? Did anybody felt like we have a chance? I'm just kind of curious.
I felt it was rotated squad. I think at this point, I'm kind of used to Pochettino having the squad rotate out a bit. So I wasn't really like shocked. I was shocked at some of the names, but I think Poch is really good about making sure everyone, to some extent, play. And I think, I think, yeah, was it ballsy to do this against Uruguay? Maybe it should have been like flipped. It should have been the other way around when you're playing against Paraguay. Nothing against Paraguay, but I mean, this is Uruguay. It's one of the most well-known countries when it comes to football. One of the smallest football nations in the world, but still are able to shit out an amazing group of talented players. Seems like every generation. So you would expect that this would be the matchup that you want to put your best out there, and clearly that didn't fucking matter. So
yes. It's crazy, bro. And let me ask you guys something. This is on my. I'm thinking. I'm right now after a win like this. You can't help but compare the Poch era, what we've seen so far, to Berhalter, maybe even previous eras around that. Is this the? Just think about this. Is this the statement win of the Poch era so far?
No.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Look, at the end of the day, we're talking about a friendly. I think that this is a great win. This is a great win to the great international break to seal off this year, because obviously the no more international break till next year. But I mean, we need to see this in a competitive setting at this point. Say what you want about Nations League, say what you want about Gold Cup. While there was still some positive things, maybe not Nations League, but there's some positive things to take from Gold Cup. I still don't necessarily feel like we have that statement victory. Has there been stressful games? Oh, you bet. But but I think I'm still waiting on that statement victory, and I don't think we're gonna get that till 2026 in the World Cup.
Fair point. I'll take that. I'm kind of curious when we think about the MLS players who featured in this one, who got on the score sheet, who just stood out from the eye test, whatever it might be. Whose stock exploded the most? And I have my player. I know John Rollins got his player too, bro. Like I was impressed in a number of ways. But when you think about answering that question, right? Like whose stock exploded the most? Who's likely playing potentially or has played their final days and final matches in Major League Soccer? John Rollins, let's start with you, man.
It's gotta be Freeman. Gotta be my boy. Yeah, I mean, you saw him go into the third center back position, and a lot of the Orlando City fans keep questioning why, Poch doesn't use Alex Freeman as the right wing back, like use his attacking skills, but it just shows, man, he's so versatile. He can do so much. He had a great game. I know there's people who question whether they think he's good enough to be a U.S. men's national team player. I think this game basically silenced any of that for me. Just proves that I think a lot of these MLS guys are as good as some of the B tier options that we have that play in Europe. It doesn't matter if they play in MLS, whatever. They're good enough. They should play. And for me, this is an example of what Poch has been building this whole time. He's always been trying to, build out a team that has a lot of a, strong mentality where we can switch in players in and out, whether it's the star quote unquote players or not. There's the same tactics, the same gritty mentality, the same, techniques being used. And therefore it doesn't 100% matter all the time who you bring into camp because the game plan is there. I think this is a perfect example of that and why I've kind of never really been that worried about the ups and downs because I could see we're going in the right direction and we're going to have games like this and we're going to have games like the one against South Korea where we look horrible. But at the end of the day, what matters is building out the roster so that when the World Cup comes, you've got more guys to pick from and not just the same 11 dudes who've been playing in Europe for the last 5 years.
Yeah, man, I fully agree. I think a lot of us, whether you're doubting MLS players or not, I know many of us were doubting Poch, right? I think before this window might have been like a make or break window from a lot of fans' perspectives before the Paraguay game. And now you get that result. You have an emphatic result against Uruguay. And it's crazy how in the span of 2 matches, everyone's opinions had almost flipped on their head, not just around Poch, but around these MLS specific players. I don't hear the same hate around guys like Freeman or Roldan or Sebastian Berhalter or Diego Luna, who I think never really been widely hated. I think a lot of people respected the fact that he had the balls, as Pochettino put it, to be on this team and earn his spot, has the grit, the mentality. But still, I think there were doubts, especially when he opted not to ultimately make the move to Europe before the window closed. So maybe it's not necessary. Who knows? I think it'd be wild if it happened, if something happened in the Poch era where we can start being more reliant upon Major League Soccer with this national team, this version of the national team camp. It's super interesting, man.
I think when you're talking about that, at the end of the day, I think your domestic league should be a valuable resource for your national team. I'm not reinventing the wheel here, by the way. This is like common sense. I think, not obviously, using Mexico as an example, yes, they have guys that play out in Europe, but a lot of the guys from those really good Mexico teams were from Liga MX.
Mm-hmm.
Like those teams that Mexico team, that team that always punched above their weight, that, if it wasn't for Arjen Robben, who knows what would have happened to them. Like that. That's I always have to bring it up.
I know, bro. It's great. I know. Don't give me PTSD, bro. Holy shit.
But that was, but it comes back from the domestic league, right? Why does that help? Because guys most likely played with each other or play against each other. Either way, you see them more often. So the good foundation should be from your league, and then sprinkle in the star players that are playing overseas. Like that's how it should be done. And Poch, many people thought that maybe he'd just be a pure Euro snob. Clearly was not, because he's buying in on what MLS is doing. And, I think with all the changes that we're seeing with MLS could be a good sign as to maybe finally we'll start seeing that relationship between the U.S. Soccer Federation and Major League Soccer.
Yeah, I hope so, man. And I think you describing those that Mexico team, the identity of it, that was the U.S. at one point too. I always said the sum was greater than its parts, if that made sense. It's every player was buying into a certain mentality. You had more players, of course, especially in the latter years of let's say the 2010, 2014 World Cup teams, who were coming from overseas because we were able to, frankly, exploit dual nat rules and things like that. But I agree with you. I'm waiting for the moment where our domestic league here in the States has, or I should say its best players are American. And this is not discriminatory in any way. It's just that it's never really been the case. Our best players are not American players in MLS. They're They come from other countries, bro. We've actually made other countries arguably better in this country. So it's just one of those things where I would love to see that flip on its head, have more American talent who not just develop here, but stay here, create even a system where we're a feeder league. You know, Hector and I have talked about that quite a bit. I would love to see that happen and have that impact on the national team. So maybe this is the start of that. Maybe Poch has decided to take it upon himself to reinforce that idea so that it can carry on to the next generations. And with MLS shifting a ton of things now, you never know, man. You never know.
And I think, you know, to quote, I mean, I'm very rarely will I ever quote Lexi Lawless, but I do think he makes a good point that to build a national team is not about bringing in the best players. It's bringing the best collection of players. And I think that, you know, while people maybe thought Alex Freeman, who the hell is that guy? I know John knows him, but like, you know, maybe most people didn't really know who this kid was capable of until we saw him do his thing in Gold Cup, you know, and that's the other thing that we're seeing now. These guys that maybe wouldn't get a chance with the U.S. men's national team come in here and they're like, I'm not going anywhere. Like that, like, cool. Thanks for the locker room spot. I'm keeping it. Like that's what I'm seeing from Freeman. That's what I'm seeing from Max Arston. Like these guys, you know, and you know, people can dog on Arston. I know some people aren't Arston fans, but I will tell you, yeah, that kid fucks up. He's a kid, or I don't know how old he is now.
He's 24.
But that's a kid. He's a kid. He's gonna fuck up. But you know what he does immediately? He gets back up and he redeems himself immediately after. He's done that every time I've watched him play. He'll have a slip up, but then he immediately redeems himself later on in the game. Whether it's getting an assist, a crucial pass, or even scoring the goal himself, the kid always shows up. And I think that that's the culture that we're seeing from Poch is, yeah, we're going to fuck up every once in a while, but hey, we're going to get back in the game. We're back in the fight. And as a matter of fact, they did fight in Paraguay. So,
yeah.
I mean,
and I loved it, bro. I don't know if anybody else thought about that, but I'm like, finally, bro. I want to see players stick up for each other. I want to see them have fight for their teammates, for their country. Like, it should be personal. I don't give a shit if it's a friendly. I love what Chris Richards said before this window. Treat it like it's a game that fucking matters and that you care about the dude next to you, and you'll defend them tooth and nail. I wanted to see that type of spirit from this team, and I'm glad we're seeing it finally. Like I worried so much about this team, especially the regular 11. I know Poch hates that word, but especially the regular 11, showing some fight, some pride, just a dog in them, bro. Like just you're not going to let anybody push you around. If I could to take Tyler Adams' mentality and so spread it around to the rest of the team, I would do that in a heartbeat.
And then my last thing is they're finally playing like a CONCACAF nation.
Yes.
Like, it's annoying to see them. Look, do I love European football? Yes, it's fun. It's entertaining. That's not America. Like, we're CONCACAF. Like,
I think America is the key word there, because you're forgetting Poch is South American. So he knows how to play these South American teams. And that's what he brought.
Hey, CONCACAF and CONMEBOL, where it's a handshake.
Same thing. You got to fight. And he showed them this is how you fight.
Exactly. So that's what I love too.
You got to win ugly. You got to win ugly. And it's okay. I have no problem with it, bro. The win is all that matters at the national team level. I don't give a shit about style.
If you don't do that in CONMEBOL, you just lose. That's it. You have to play their game a bit.
So this is the one time other time I'll bash Berhalter. One of the games that pissed me, or was it Berhalter? Or I forgot what game it was, but it pissed me off was when I think Mexico was getting really physical with one guy and not one player from the U.S. men's national team went and shoved the guy. Like, and I don't think it was Weston. I don't think Weston McKennie was in there. Neither Sergio Des, because if those two were there, they would definitely would aim at some ankles. But you know, we didn't have that, and that really was just like these guys don't want to fight for each other. They don't have it. Now they do.
Yeah. Now they do.
As soon as whatever that shenanigans happened in the Paraguay game, they went full send. I mean, the bench is cleared. I mean, that should just tell you everything about the mentality is. So, I mean, give props to Poch, man. Like we were all hesitant. You know, I made a lot of jokes. You know, we all did.
We all did. We're all in that bucket with you, bro.
So it's great that it's paying off, man.
I agree. And I will say, just to kind of wrap this point up, is just I want to see this carry through. I agree with what Hector said about, hey, we shouldn't declare this his statement win just yet, because the other day it was a friendly. I do want to now see this translate into matches that do count for something. And if we don't see the amazing score lines, the abundance of goals, fine, but keep the mentality, right? Fight for every blade of grass on that field, and I swear to God, at a bare minimum, you will have the utmost respect from the entire fan base at the bare minimum. So we'll see what happens, man. Again, the comments down below, man. Let us know how you guys felt about that, how you're feeling about this team in general, and of course, when it comes to the MLS players involved, who you think has maybe started to stamp their spot on that 26-man World Cup roster. Really curious for that take as well. All right, man. Let's move on to one more mini topic, and then we'll get into the preview. But big news today, bro. We had to talk about it. Don Garber. There is now a game plan, a route to his succession being in place as the commissioner of Major League Soccer. This is a major story, man. There's so many fans who absolutely despise Don Garber for a number of reasons. I mean, at the end of the day, he is the voice box for MLS ownership. I think, is being credited to him when it comes to the restrictions around the league, some of the funky rules that fans from outside of this country can't really understand. And of course, I would say not necessarily his ego, but maybe the pride he has around MLS being as unique as it is. I'm kind of curious, Davi. We'll start with you, bro, because you when we put this in the group chat, I think we all had maybe a couple opinions here and there, but you were very much in line with this. You loved this move and what it could mean for teams, owners, front offices all over the league. What was your reaction, bro, upon seeing this news?
I think change was needed. I mean, he did his part. He saved the league. He got the league booming, like business wise, and now we have 30 teams. He started off when there were 12 teams and they were struggling with that, and now he's tripled the size of the league. And dude, I think we needed a business mind at the time, and quite clearly he was that. He was the best guy we poached from the NFL, but it's 2025 now, and we're heading to the 2026 World Cup. I heard rumors prior to this saying that he would step down after 2026 because he wanted a World Cup as a commissioner, so he could get kind of a little bit of credit for that. But after 26, he would step down, or somebody else would take his place as commissioner for MLS. And dude, I think finally this is the change that we needed, and I think his departing gift was changing the schedule from late winter, early spring to late winter, and now we're gonna head to the traditional European schedule. So I think that's already something that he was looking into. Obviously we had a vote last year and they voted no, but this year they were able to flip maybe a couple people that were on the fence about the idea, and ultimately, in my opinion, I think the pros outweigh the cons. The only con is that it's the weather. That's literally the only argument you hear from people in that camp. That's the negative about switching over the schedule. Outside of that, I just think I think he did a good job, and I think the time's past him. I think it's time for change. And I like to say this: the schedule change doesn't mean anything until the cap is either relaxed a bit or abolished completely. It's not gonna change anything, because if you just go into the schedule like 27-28 with the roster rules you have now, it's going to be the same thing. You're just playing at different times of the year. So
I wouldn't say the same. I still think the format and the calendar matter. I don't think the success of the calendar is contingent upon the spending rules being relaxed. And I also don't think that it was Garber's decision. I firmly believe it was the original ownership group that we had in place and what they were sold on at the end of the day. That's it. You protect your investment. These are business owners, not sports front office people in general. I just don't believe that. These are serial entrepreneurs with deep pockets who want to protect their investment, and that's why the rules haven't been relaxed more so than they already have. So I don't know, man. For me, the biggest question I have to put all this kind of in a nice neat bow is, what type of commissioner does MLS need next? Because I agree that Garber got us to a certain point, right? And people who say oh, his time is come and gone, he's not the guy anymore, hasn't been successful, you are living under a rock. He legitimately is one of the biggest reasons MLS has grown to the point that it's at. But like anything else, your era comes and goes. At some point, change will be necessary. to hit that next phase of growth, that
No, I mean-
next era of
I mean,
prosperity.
this guy literally saved the league with like 3 other people. Like
Yeah.
if it wasn't for this guy, we'd have no Major League Soccer right now.
Mhm.
I agree. And so I'm not going to sit here and trash Garber, but I do think it's time, right? People are saying that he's being pushed out of the airplane. Hopefully he pulls his parachute and he's good. I will somewhat agree with that statement, but it begs the question, if not Garber, if he's not the guy to take us forward, what type of commissioner do we need now to make sure MLS continues to grow beyond the Messi era into something that's more comparable to global football? Any thoughts there? Anybody?
We need a commissioner who either loves the sport of soccer or actually played the sport of soccer. That's what we freaking need.
Mhm.
Look, Don Garber has done a lot of good things for this league. He's grown it a lot, but he's a guy who came from NFL. He's a guy that I think you're totally right. Really just did a lot of the time what he thought the owners kind of wanted to do. And I think that's fine. But I think a lot of the progress we have wasn't fast enough for me. And I would have liked a commissioner who's going to push things forward and also push for the athletes, push for the game, push for the growth of soccer in this country. And I don't feel like Don Garber is doing that. I think he's pushing for the owners to make sure they get their money and to make sure that everybody's happy and the stakeholders are happy. But who's looking after, the interests of U.S. soccer as a whole and growing the sport in this country as a whole? That's where Don Garber fails on every front, in my opinion, because he's kept it as we're just MLS and we just care about ourselves and we don't want to play ball with, some and U.S. soccer and all of this stuff that has been allowed to kind of, happen under his rule of MLS. I want a commissioner to come in that cares about the sport in this country to the point of passion, like you see when we talk about like in Eric Winalda, and that level of passion, the way he talks about the game, that's what I want from my U.S. soccer president. It doesn't have to be somebody even American. Like in this article, they named Christian Seifert, who is the former CEO of Bundesliga. Great. Go get that guy, right? That's what I want. A real soccer guy who can explain to some of these owners, hey, maybe we should do this because this is a bit more soccer and a little bit less NFL. I also think that a lot of Garber's exit is probably being pushed by Jorge Mas because ever since he got into the league, good or bad, Miami have just been like this freight train trying to push things forward all the time. And I think him and Garber hit a lot of road bumps. And I think there's like been this split camp where Mass is trying to take some of the owners to go do his vision of MLS. And I think Garber was kind of in the other camp of the older, NFL owners that were maybe want to maintain the status quo. And so I think this fight is kind of getting to a point here where you're now at the point where a lot of the owners are like, all right, maybe we need to just get a new guy in so that we can all pull and go in the same direction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. A soccer guy would be amazing. Again, finding someone who also has like the chops, right, to lead an entire league moving forward, one who's been as nuanced as a Major League Soccer is.
Look at USL with Tony Scholes, for example.
Yeah, but that was a huge get. One that I imagine would still not maybe be quite as inspiring for the current ownership groups across MLS, only because many of them are, like you said, kind of like Garber-esque. They come from other franchise professional leagues within American sports in general. They saw the rise of MLS maybe as like just a quick, I don't say a quick, right, but another opportunity to line the pockets. And now everything is starting to shift in this new direction. So I'm wondering, right? I feel like owners are now asking better questions, more intelligent questions of who's going to be leading this league moving forward. It's why we're now starting to see the change that we're seeing. And I think that to take it to the next level, I agree with John wholeheartedly. It really does have to be someone who has that backing.
One of my good friends in the NYCFC in space, Halen Hero, he actually, when we were talking about this, he said he could see someone like, well, I don't think it will happen, but he says he wants someone like David Beckham to become the commissioner, kind of just like sell his stake in Miami and overtake oversee
Beckham
everything.
Is a face, not
but
a brain.
I don't think.
Please
Yeah,
no
I don't.
To that, but yeah,
I don't think it'll happen just because I don't think he wants to let go of the ownership he has into Miami. But I mean, I could see the way he was thinking. Like he wants like a soccer guy. He wants someone that like actually played the sport, understands the sport, and has been at the highest level and seen the game in Europe. So
yeah,
I think that's a guy we need right now. I don't know who the successor is going to be, but we'll just have to wait and find out. I'm pretty sure by 2027 we'll know who that guy is.
I would love someone like Eric Winalda. And Eric knows how I've expressed that to him in the past. I feel like he would have to overhaul everything. He's too radical at this moment in time. I think he feels like there's too much change that has to happen. He would do things completely differently, probably from how these owners would want to work. And that's where, again, finding the middle ground would be very, very key.
I could tell you, Stan Kroenke would definitely sell his stake in Colorado Rapids. He's for sure gone.
I think like pro rel becomes a thing, and you have to meaningfully invest in the franchise you own. It becomes very, very interesting.
It's not only that, you also have to invest in USL. Like the USL teams would have to invest in themselves.
Yeah, and they are. I think they will, and that's also why I think the owners now are seeing like competition changes everything. It changes everything. The minute you get someone who comes in and starting to make waves, catch fans' attentions at scale, then you start thinking about how do we ward them off? What can we implement? Are we asking ourselves the right questions about where this league should be going? I think much of this is being fueled by the growth USL has seen over the last 2 years. It's crazy.
My nightmare is they name some NFL or NBA guy. Like just don't do that.
I don't think they'll go that direction.
I mean, in this list, I don't know where he got this list from, but there's guys, in soccer, in US soccer, there's owners. There's like an owner of LAFC. And then there's other guys like deputy commissioner of the NBA. Like, great, you're commissioner or deputy commissioner of another league, but I don't understand this thing in American sports where it's just like, oh, you're commissioner of a league. That means you could be commissioner of any league.
Yeah.
Why isn't it that you're being, you should be inside your own sporting industry? If I'm the GM of a basketball team, what gives me the idea that I can go be a GM of a soccer team? And I think that happens a lot in American sports. It's fine when it's like front office stuff, but when it's something as big as this, I think I really just want somebody who is actually in the soccer industry.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And that's why there needs to be this search honestly needs to take as long as it needs to take.
It has to be a European guy or somebody outside of the US.
I don't know if I would like it, but I don't think they will.
I disagree on that one. I think as long as it's someone that wants the growth in soccer, I think, because like I said, I think we all said that at this point, MLS is where they are. Now it's just improving soccer as a whole, football as a whole, and those are some changes that need to be well articulated and addressed to these owners, with things like, player acquisitions. Obviously, at some point, the salary cap is going to be addressed, especially with Jorge Mas, because I think the guy is definitely the prophet of trying to get that out of the way. But also the academy system, that is something that needs to be addressed at some point. Like I say a lot of nice things about MLS Next because I mean, I was involved with it in some level, and I do think that there's some positives there. It's just that I don't think we're getting the full potential of it. And that's what's kind of missing with me. I do like the player pathway that they built. It's just we need to eventually see that pathway conclude, and we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
The league as a whole, I think there's still some things with the league, the form, especially when we're going into that new format, like that the new season schedule. How is the league going to be organized? What's the playoff going to look like? Is there going to be a playoff? What are we going to do with US Open Cup? What are like all these questions that we have? Is Leagues Cup going to still be a thing? Like all these things that we still need to know. And I know the commissioner isn't all completely behind all these things, but he's going to be the voice for the league to talk to these other affiliates to make sure that things can go as smoothly and make sense, specifically to the NFL owners. I think the new MLS owners, like a Ted Siegel and all those guys, like for the Houston Dynamo, these guys are coming in because they're intrigued. They see the growth that soccer can have. So they are more hungry and more wanting to learn more, kind of like Jorge Mas as well, where they are going to ask the harder questions. I just want to see, and like said, I don't think it necessarily has to be an international guy. I think that if there's an American that's passionate and well knowledgeable enough, maybe has European experiences along with it, I don't necessarily think it has to be like some guy with an accent. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I don't necessarily have even like an idea of where I think this person has to come from. I just hope they realize the undertaking they're accepting and that there's so many layers to this. Like everything Hector mentioned, plus the Apple TV deal. Are we going to go back to just standard like broadcast rights that are competed for, and we start branching out of what's already been put in place by Garber and all the owners previously? There's so many layers to it. Yeah, are we gonna keep it as the same? No competition on the
Apple and Adidas, their contracts expire right around the same time.
But things can be renewed, right? Yeah. And again, it's just what I'm saying is that like things have always been done from the lens of what's a good business decision. And I think at some point you need to have someone in the room that says, "Hey, business is great, but are we not building something for soccer fans of the future? Are we not looking to attract more soccer fans who are also watching now the most accessible amount of global footy possible?" Those are all people are still worried about how we compete with like a stateside American sports versus like the fact that global footy is now more accessible than it's ever been. To me, that's where the competition is, and that's where the comparisons really are. So I agree with what everything that's been said. I think that there really does need to be just a true football or soccer guy, and someone who can really bridge the gap that we know will exist between those who want this to be a good business versus those who want this to be a thriving league on all fronts. So we'll find out, man. We'll definitely find out. But it's a good talking point, guys. Let us know in the comments down below, man. It's a big deal. This is huge. For most MLS fans who are alive today, they've never experienced a world without Don Garber. And that's true of just about anything American soccer. He's probably one of the most relevant names or faces in the landscape, period. So it's a massive shift the entire league's about to undergo. Let us know how you feel about it. All right, man. On to the main event of the video. We got the preview for round 2, 4 one-off matches and across round 2 that we're going to talk about. Win and you're in, lose and you go home. I really want to just dive right in. And before we jump into each individual matchup, take a look at how we feel this bracket could actually end up shaking out. I'm kind of curious from your guys' perspective, who's got the easier path into the MLS Cup final? When you look at this, I think it might be no bullshit. It might actually be like, it might be, I don't know. The West has it easier, I think. Whoever takes the
West definitely has the easier pathway. But I will say top 3 is going to be challenging. The top 3.
Yeah. I'm going to say Vancouver or San Diego because they got home advantage then if they go through.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
San Diego would have home advantage San Diego if they beat Minnesota, and the West is easier. So technically, San Diego
would have the easiest pathway.
Yeah. Crazy if we're going off of that first year. This is where they find themselves.
Oh, dude, if they beat Minnesota, let me ask you, do you guys think it's obviously favorable for them, right? That Minnesota went through and not Seattle?
Minnesota is so weird, man. And I didn't like any of their wins. Like, I am not sold on this team right now. And
pure terrorist football.
They just keep doing it, though. They just keep fucking doing it.
Yeah, because there's no extra time. Like,
if it wins, it wins. You can't, like.
No, and I get all that, but I think that does matter at the end of the day. It does matter to how you're performing.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like Seattle had the only actual win in that matchup, but once again, you play what you play. The format is the format, and I think they lucked out because of that. Now they're going in against San Diego, and hey, I mean, the argument you could say for San Diego is that they're still new to this. So they're actually very new to this.
Very new.
But like, if that's the only argument I have for Minnesota, but I don't know. I wasn't really sold on Minnesota. I felt that Minnesota versus Seattle would have been a more interesting matchup, and honestly, I was kind of disappointed about their matchup, and so I'm not really confident in Minnesota right now.
Yeah. They're not a sexy team by any means. I watched them and I'm like, the first game, their back line was kind of in shambles. And then, when they look disjointed at times, but like Ramsey has built this identity, I think, with Minnesota, where it's like you just can never count them out, and they seem to be glued enough as a unit. They're still very young, and I still have a lot of gripes about some of the individual talents on that team. But it seems like, I'm not gonna lie, I gave them very minimal chance against Seattle, extremely minimal. And they somehow pulled that result out of their ass, and like now they're here. And we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. I agree though, because for logically, the West Side is easier. San Diego has an opportunity to ride home field advantage all the way in. That is a massive advantage to have, even if you have to go up against either LAFC or Vancouver. That's a massive advantage to have. So,
but I do think that if there's two teams that who gives a shit about your home field advantage, it is Vancouver and LAFC.
Yeah. Who do you think are either of those teams, is one better poised than the other to actually win at Snapdragon Stadium? Like, does it matter? Are both those teams just so good that they could probably get a result either way?
Vancouver's more complete to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I don't know, man. The East looks so damn tough. You have, like I said, you have Cincinnati, who survived the hell is real derby, and now they get Messi and company, versus you would say maybe NYCFC if they could pull it off against Philly, but Philly's so damn good and complete. And then NYCFC lost a very pivotal piece, and we'll talk about that. It's just so difficult over there, bro. Both of those matches are super tight, and they're all great teams at this point.
I mean, if you want to talk about as far as like who cares about home field advantage, it's Miami. Like the FC Cincinnati, it might be half and half. Like that stadium might like there's Messi fans that bought tickets before the FC Cincinnati fans, and if they go whoever they have to play against, whether it's if it's NYCFC, yeah, it's gonna be Miami. But if they go against Philly, I mean, who's to say the same scenario could also fall into play? Like Miami home field advantage might not be a factor for Miami, especially as we go deeper, as people are going to be willing to pay for playoff tickets, specifically to see Messi and gang.
That's true.
Make it to the final.
That's true. Every game might be home field advantage for Miami, if you really think about it. Like, it's just not something they have to worry about. Like, they're going to have a good turnout probably either way. So I don't know, man. This is really interesting to think about who could make it in there. Where we've already seen a ton of upsets. So let's unpack it, man. Let's go through this match by match. Again, we're not going to go, full blown, do what we've done in the past on this channel, build out full combined 11s and whatnot. But let's talk about it. Let's give our predictions for each, and we'll go through this segment of the show. Really kind of curious to see how you guys feel. We'll start with the very first matchup that we have on Saturday, which is going to be Vancouver hosting LAFC. This is, bro, this is Vancouver's time to exercise the demons, bro. This is why you bought Thomas Muller. This is why you probably had a dartboard with Denny Bowanga and Ho Min Son's face in the fucking locker room. You're throwing darts at it, bro. It has to be the matchup that you wait for. You wait all year for, I should say. Because I think in back-to-back seasons now, this is where they've exited, and it's always been to LAFC. Always. This has to be the year, right?
There's got to be some MLS marketing people that really loved when this one came out as the draw, and we're like, oh yeah, like let me throw some graphics with Heung-min Son and Thomas Muller on immediately. Like, give me the side by side.
Just Birdman in the background, right? It's just
I feel like the poster boys in the last 6 months is like, oh, now we get to play each other, and they haven't played each other since they both arrived. So it's like, and now it's in the playoffs. This could be a MLS Cup final. I know it's East versus West, but it's that billing, right? It's that level of a game. And
maybe the new format, it could be an MLS Cup final.
Yeah,
right.
These are two good teams, man. They're two really good teams.
It's going to be so tight. I think it comes down to which both. I agree with what Hector says. I think Vancouver are more of a unit in the team, but LA have two stars that can turn up and win you a game at any time, really. So I think it's about how much does Son and Bowanga turn up versus how well do Vancouver defend and fight as a unit led by Thomas Muller. Or maybe we need a Muller moment, right? Is this going to be one of those where it comes down to those key moments for those key players and whether they put the ball in the back of their net and lead their team to victory or not.
Yeah. And I mean, you want to talk about home field. LAFC is like, what home field? they like what home field? They've gone to Vancouver and won. You know, like for them, this is like, oh, okay, all right, well, we're going against Vancouver again. So I mean, like, yeah, it's different circumstances. And I said all those nice things. I did say those nice things about Vancouver, but this is LAFC is in their element. Like this, they've, as far as recently, probably one of the more experienced teams when it comes to playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
you know, you could, and that you maybe can say that for Vancouver right now. Yeah, they're really good and they've gone pretty far in some of the competitions they've been in. But I mean, you know, when push comes to shove, when they have to go up against a proven team, they don't necessarily live up to the billing.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. It's a fair shout. This is how it all netted out as far as results go and individual performances the last time they played. This was in round 12. And so this was pre-Muller. This was before Vite left Vancouver. Obviously pre-Heung-min Son as well. And you now have the likes of Muller in there for Vite. Brian White was still fucking bagging goals like crazy back then too. So the teams themselves look and feel a little bit different. But I do think that Hector, to an extent, is pretty spot on here in that I think LAFC does know how to go at Vancouver, even at BC Place. Like they will find a way to create several opportunities. It's just whether or not they can take advantage of them. Because again, keep in mind, going back to the first round when they had to take on Dallas, Dallas created a fair amount of opportunities, got the goals, when they needed to an extent. It, walked out of playoffs on penalty kicks. And so LAFC should be able to generate plenty of opportunities, just whether or not they can take advantage of them. And I'm looking at guys like Denny Bwanga for that. This guy is the king of getting a million opportunities before he actually puts one in the back of the net. And now coming off a 2-week break, I don't know if anybody loses form. I don't know if we expect certain players to step up based on what we saw off international breaks.
Doesn't he usually come hot off international break, Bwanga?
Yeah, he does. He
Traditionally?
does. And he does. And I've actually seen him, dude. Speaking of my own team, God, I remember still watching him. Like I remember the game we played at LAFC, his very first game or his first season with LAFC. He came off the plane after an international match, came in, got to the game like right as the game was starting, came in the second half and bagged the winner. So I mean, the guy just converts. But I will say that like he still needs a high volume of opportunities. I'm curious as what his efficiency rating is. But yes, John is 100% right. He comes in hot off international break. Do you think we see an improved or different version of Sebastian Berhalter in this game based on how well he did with the U.S. men's national team?
I mean, if you want to talk about Bwanga for real quick, he is also very pissed off. So,
yeah, true. Yeah, very, very true.
I think Berhalter could be a massive factor. Yeah, if he steps up to have that kind of game in the midfield, he's a leader on this Vancouver team. We've seen that, and his set pieces, they're always a threat, right? So if you give him a free kick or he gets a good corner in, is Brian White going to be back for this one? That was a question mark I had because he has late November down for injury return. So he's a question mark. Ryan Golz is a big return for them. And I think that's something that this Vancouver team, we've seen them cooking with Mueller. And like I personally saw when you added Ryan Golz into that, you trying to watch. I mean, we talk about LA watching Heung-min Son and Bwanga when Ryan Golz and Mueller on the fields for Vancouver, and they start to connect. There's a lot going on and a lot being created. And I think that could be, a wrinkle late in the game that LA might not be able to deal with.
Yeah, man. Gall's work rate, just to put even the finishing and his ability to find others in the box aside, the guy's work rate is insane late in games. He's just sprinting everywhere.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge leg up when you have to obviously factor in the fact that Muller's not that type of physical player. Late in games, he's going to be there more for the mentality and the finishing ability. And so it'll be really, really interesting to see what Vancouver could throw at LAFC. Look, man, let's get predictions in here. I'm feeling really good about Vancouver. I've said this all year. I'm going to back it. I think they've been the best team across the majority of the season. They added, the highest caliber in terms of a winning player to this team at the right time. It seems to all be working out very well. I'm going to back Vancouver. I think it's going to be a crazy game. I'm going to say 3-2. Predictions.
A lot of goals in Vancouver. I'm with you.
3-2 Vancouver. All right. Hector?
I think the demons are exercised. 3-2 Vancouver.
Oh, Canada. Davy, are you with us?
And I can't wait to see the the Berhalter TikTok video again.
Bro, I need to see it again. I need to see him and Mueller do it together. Fuck it.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
If it was Lewandowski, maybe, but I mean,
yeah, facts, bro, facts. Even at almost 40, that man could easily pull that TikTok off, 100%. Davy, what's your prediction?
Vancouver 3-2 in extra time.
Let's go, man. I think it's gonna happen. I think it'll be it. I think many of the Heung-min Son faithful will be not terribly upset. I think again, you're going out to one of the best teams in the league. It is what it is, but still, I think there's a lot of aspirations for Heung-min Son. First season in MLS, him making a run at MLS Cup. That might end here. That's how we see it going, though, guys. So let us know how you feel in the comments down below. Predictions. We have Vancouver going through a clean sweep against LAFC. All right, man. When we go into the Sunday slate of games, the first match being played is going to be the winner of the Hell is Real Derby versus Barca Boys 2.0. We got Cincinnati hosting Miami, but as Hector alluded to.
But did they really win the Hell's Real Derby?
Probably the most lukewarm version of it in many seasons. But at the same time, big derby.
What was the aggregate? What was the aggregate, Jose?
I'll be honest, like I said, I was not super impressed. It is. Can we not agree, though? The Hell's Real Derby is arguably the best rivalry in MLS. Are we all in agreement there?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think it has to be, right? But, Columbus Crew were not the Columbus Crew that we have known under Nancy in recent seasons. And,
should have
got Benteke, bro. Gazdag is somewhere at home shaking his head for sure. But with that said, bro, I mean, nonetheless, since Cincinnati moves on, they have a ton of experience at this stage of playoffs, and they host what I imagine is an extremely motivated Messi and Inter Miami. So this one's going to be interesting. Hector alluded to before, man. There's probably not going to be a massive home field advantage at TQL Stadium. Plenty of pink probably going to be visible all the way around. So if that's not a factor here, it comes down to just which team you back.
Not just pink.
Not just pink.
A lot of blue and white kids, a lot of blue and red kids.
Yeah, a lot of Blaugrana in there. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Can Cincy compete with this version of Miami right now, based on how we saw them end the round one series against Nashville in epic fashion? Can they make this an interesting game?
So I'll say this: as much as everyone complained about this stupid break that we had between round one till now, the one team I will say that are the benefactors of having this break is Inter Miami. You give these guys a more time to prepare, rest.
The aging body's got a little bit of a break. Yes, sir.
You gotta have time for shuffleboard in the afternoon. Like you can't, you can't just train all day at the retirement home. There's got to be some R&R.
Yeah, bro. They need some R&R, man. They need a break every now and then, and they got it.
If there's a team that benefits from that, it's Miami. I think Miami is going to be fully prepared and rested. Now, Cincinnati is no joke. I'm not trying to take that away from Cincinnati. They look great. Hey, you lose a Lucho and you get yourself an Evander, and it still paid off for them tremendously. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because I think we're seeing that Miami did in fact learn from their mistakes of last year.
Yeah. I mean, they had to, right? There's no way. I mean, I was saying it, in previous episodes. There was no way. Surely they don't lose in the same round back-to-back years. So
you hoped.
semi hope for sure. I honestly, if MLS was the one league that Messi could not, take down, it'd be, I don't know about a stain on the legacy, but that'd be crazy. But with that said, man, I mean, in this game, I don't know, like in my mind, Messi and Miami should win. It's a very much an all caps should win. Like I think that Cincinnati's good, but I do believe that, I don't know. I don't think Evander has clutch factor. I'm going to die on that hill. I don't think he has clutch factor. I think he's a really, really good player, and his time in MLS will be seen as a very much a positive. But in these moments, bro, I don't back him. I don't know if he's going to show up. Didn't they? When did they? So they last played. I'll pull this up now. They last played back in July. There was who was suspended for this game? I can't remember on Miami side. It might have been Messi. Let me pull this up here. But look at this lineup. And look at what the hell Evander was doing. Granted, it's FOTMob, right? I'm not a FOTMob merchant. Like, it is what it is. But, like, this is, I mean, I just don't know if he's ready to come and be him in the biggest of occasions. That is my biggest gripe about Evander. And that's why I wasn't okay with him getting MVP shouts last season or even this season, if I'm being frank. I think there are other pivotal pieces across the Cincinnati team that you could argue are more of that X factor player. Guys like Orellano as an example. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but Orellano as an example. The most versatile player on the Cincinnati lineup. Mm-hmm. So what do we expect out of Evander? Is he going to step up and be him against Messi, Suarez, Busquets, everybody else?
He has to.
If he crashes out here, was it worth the money?
I mean, yeah. I think
still worth the money.
I still think Evander's worth the money. I think he's a top player in this league. Whether, you know, you're questioning whether he can be the one guy to take you all the way. Is that what you're saying? Like, if you spend all that money, if he can't be the star player to take you away, is it worth the money?
Yes.
I still think so. He might just need other guys with him, right? We see this a lot where sometimes you have really, really good players on a team, but he's not that one star player who can carry the team. But that doesn't mean that he's a bad investment.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? So I think the intentions behind the investment are super important. I remember Sasha Kleshin very early on this season saying that he was going to be a better investment than Lucho. Lucho was the reigning MVP, had an insane 2023 year, benefited everybody across the board, and made it further than this round of playoffs. And so when you think about, you know, and frankly, I feel like back then also had a tougher Eastern Conference to potentially go up against to an extent. That's always debatable. But I think if you're going to say flat out, he is definitely a better investment than Lucho, then surely we're talking about an MVP caliber player who carries their team. Maybe not carries is the wrong word, but helps lead their team to the MLS Cup final, representing the East.
First of all, don't listen to anything Sasha Kleshin says. Secondly, in the game before this one, it was 3-0 to Cincy at home, and Evander was the man and got 2 goals, and Messi was on the field. So I think maybe that game we looked at, he wasn't him, but I think he can be him, even against Inter Miami. What gives me encouragement for this Cincy team is the fact that I think they don't allow Inter Miami to play. And like ever since you look back at their record, ever since Messi's been there, I think they have 1 win against Cincy. And that's because Cincy approached them with the same thing that Orlando City tried to approach them with this year. Is just you smother them. You do not let them have a minute. You close down Messi. You close down these other guys on their team that are super creative. You know, you allow the guys who are less effectual to have more time on the ball. You know, you basically stop them from playing their game. And you make it so frustrating that Messi gets annoyed, and then he gets mentally, so frustrated that he is not getting the ball, that he can't affect the game that he wants to. And then that kind of bleeds into, okay, they're going to make mistakes. You can steal a goal. You can, put pressure on the back line, go up a couple goals, and then you're cooking because you're now up and you can sit back. If you allow them to play like Nashville did in that first game, they're going to kill you every time. So I think Cincy knows how to deal with Miami, and they will go out there and they will do it again. Or at least I hope they will, because I cannot stand the idea of them winning the league. But
yeah,
hey, I'm the Orlando guy, so I'm biased.
The winner in that 14-game season anyway. So
yeah, I mean, fair. I just it's a difficult ask. It's a difficult ask. I think the backline will definitely make it tough for the likes of Suarez, Allende, or Suarez not even being a factor in this one, but Allende, I think the other forwards who will make those runs off of Messi receiving the ball in those pockets and trying to create havoc. I think they'll be able to hopefully deal with that. I think Cincinnati's very disciplined in the back, even when their wing backs are up super high, they throw crazy numbers forward. They still find a way to just deal with most things, but I think you're right. If they let Messi get comfortable, even for a small spell, and they nick a goal in the first half, you almost have to go into halftime just keeping the clean sheet. Give yourself an opportunity to do something special in the second half. Because if you have to play catch up in this game, I don't know. I don't know if you can keep up with Miami. I really don't. It's going to be very, very difficult. Yeah, with that said, man, I think that leaves my prediction for this game. Ooh, that's dude. Keeping a clean sheet in the first half will be interesting. I still think Miami edges it. It's just so difficult to go up against them right now. You give them rest. They're probably going to game plan for what Evander might do as well. Now, defensively, Miami's not good. I don't know how much they'll be able to handle from Cincinnati, but I just think if it comes to a shootout, Miami should score more. I don't know if I have a good score line here, but I think Miami wins.
I think physically the rest is great, but I do question like whether mentally it's good because you think about these players like Messi and these ex-Europeans, they're not used to that, right? That has like never happened to them in other tournaments, where they be, oh, the finals next week, right? Like this 3-week break. So maybe Messi's on the beach already. Maybe he's mentally been like, there could be a mental slip there from these guys that are like, oh, it's been so long, the season's over in my head, even though it's not.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. So I think, it's just one of those things where we'll definitely have to. I'll be looking for certain key battles in the first half to see kind of how this all plays out. But I think I'm going to stick with my prediction. I think it's probably going to be like a 2-1 Miami. Let's go all the way around. John, how you feeling?
I'm going to go 3-1 to Cincy. I think it's a tight game, and then Cincy win it in the second half on breakaways. Counterattacks are key here.
Yeah. All right. Hector?
2-1 Miami. I anticipate Rodrigo De Paul being a big X factor in this game.
All right. And Davi?
2-1, but in Cincy's favor.
Ooh, so we have 2 Cincy, 2 Miami. This should be interesting. Dude, I will say it will be a big, big result if Cincy get it done. It will be. Like at home, call it whatever you want, but it'll be a massive result to get this done. And I don't know if it's going to feel like when Atlanta beat Miami last season. I don't know if they'll be America's team per se, but it will be a massive result. So
I mean,
we'll
that was an upset. This is not an upset. So
yeah, it's just a really close, tight knit game, man.
This is a toss up. This is a toss up. I mean, it'd be nice to get both stands out of here, both Messi and Son stands. Get them out for the season. No plasticos, please. No plasticos.
No plasticos, please. Yeah, I hear that, bro. I hear that. All right, man. Let's transition. Davi, we're already talking, bro, so let's get your team in here, man. Sticking with the East, we're going to talk about Philadelphia hosting NYCFC. Davi, bro, as you're watching the last game, talk to me about how you're feeling, because if anybody watched your take prior to the game being played, they would have thought they had no chance as an NYCFC fan. How do you feel about this team now watching what you watched against Charlotte?
With the context of prior to this week, I think the feeling is pretty good. 50-50, I would say. It's a toss-up because I could see it going in our favor. I could definitely see it going in their favor. I mean, last time we played them, we lost 1-0, but we had chances to really at least tie it. And they won the Supporters Shield against us, so there's a little bit of that, because it happened so recently. It's still like in the back of our mind. It's still, the taste is still in our mouths. So we're hoping we could essentially replicate the performance that we had, but this time just be a little bit more clinical and go for the goal. From the team that Hector said that benefits from the break now to the team that gets completely fucked over. No Perea, he got hurt in game 3. That's what happens when you don't wrap it up at home when you have home field advantage. Aiden O'Neill with the stupid yellow card, even though it was pretty funny to see him kick the ball to Zaha, and then Zaha just get absolutely pissed off because anything that touches Zaha is he just gets angry. He just wants to throw punches like he's an NBA YoungBoy fan. And then and then Alonso Martinez getting hurt on international duty. Hindsight is 2020. Costa Rica is going to miss the World Cup, so. Nice.
Was it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing?
And it was a terrible field.
It was all for nothing, man. Fucking crazy, bro.
If I'm being realistic, I think Philly takes it, but I think if it goes to penalties, I think you could see NYCFC sneak it.
It could, bro. It could. And keep in mind, bro, the last time these two teams played, close game. I mean, Philly won 1-0, right? But I mean, Martinez wasn't really relevant. It was kind of a stinker, got hooked 60th minute. And it was one of those games where Philly just edged it out when it was all said and done. So I don't know. I think this game is pretty close, even with Martinez being out. Granted, yes, he's your best forward, he's your best goal scorer, but I don't feel like you guys gave him a ton of opportunities to begin with, like volume. He's just very efficient with his opportunities at the end of the day. And it sucks, bro. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I can only imagine going into a massive playoff game and not having your best goal scorer if it was one of my teams, right? So I get it. But I still think you guys have a good manager who understands what still has to be done outside of that position to make it difficult for Philly, even on the road. But it's not the baseball stadium, bro.
Yeah,
and it's
but the
still
thing is,
the best team in MLS.
The thing is, Perea and O'Neal are going to be out, so
yeah, it's going to be tough, bro.
That's the thing. I mean, you do have Justin Hack who could come in, fill in that role, and then I guess you play Johnny Shore at that point, because unless you want to drop Maxi Morales in there, but then you'd have to bring somebody. You have to bring in someone like Ojeda to start, and I don't think he's starting. I don't think he's a starting quality player. If I'm being honest, I like him better off the bench because he's a speedster. He could burn you on the wing.
Yeah.
After 60, 70 minutes of being on the field. But we'll find out and see. I think you'll put Nico Fernandez up at striker. He played a couple games there, and he was able to score a couple goals when Alonso was out earlier in the season and filled in for him. So we'll see. But I think Philly gets it done with their 90 and 120, but if it goes to penalties, I think Matt Freese is going to win it for us.
Ooh, cheeky Matt Freese saves to send NYCFC to the Eastern Conference Final. That would send USMNT fans into mayhem in the best way possible, I think. All right, man. I think prediction-wise, Davi, so you said, okay, putting timestamps and whether or not it goes to penalties aside, what do you think actually happens?
I think a tight game, but I think Philly takes it by 1 goal. I think another 1-0 happens again. I don't see NYCFC really exposing themselves in the back, or I don't see Philly really scoring a lot of goals on this back line, because I think they'll keep it tight and compact like they did in the last couple of games that they played them. So it might be a moment of brilliance either side that could really be the difference here.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be 2-1. Actually, you guys do find a way to get a goal. I just think Philly is firing on all cylinders. The 2-week break probably served you guys the best technically, despite the Martinez injury, right? Because it gives your manager time.
I mean, however, if we're talking on breaks, Philly got their series done in 2 games. So, and plus, if you want to talk about curses, the Supporters Shield curse. So, who knows? Maybe it's set up for an upset. I won't hype that up. We'll have to wait and see. But
I forgot about that too. The curse of the Supporters Shield. We have to factor that in. We got to factor that in.
I heard somebody on.
It's because we don't have Xiaoyan to remind you.
yeah, but I forgot about that curse, man. If they go out here, we know exactly what it was.
I know some people in the fan base at New York City said they would prefer to go to 3 games because that way they would be more. They would be like more like match fit, more match sharp compared to Philadelphia because they got it done so early, and us historically we just struggle off international breaks. So I guess playing that extra game would help in a way, but obviously with Perea getting injured in that game, that's a big blow. And then O'Neal getting that 3rd yellow, that's a big blow as well. And then Martinez on international. It's a lot of key players missing for New York City, but no excuses. We made it this far. Even if we lose, I think it's a good season for Pascal Janssen, especially for a first-year head coach. So no excuses for me if we lose. GG's, unlike Philly in 21, where they irresponsibly went out and got sick. So I jokingly said if Philly wins, it doesn't count on Twitter, and it got likes. So
it doesn't count. That's hilarious.
Because that's what their fans say when we beat them in the playoffs in 21. So
I mean, I have no opinion on that, but I will say. I think Philly wins. I just think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think you guys can get a goal for sure. But I think Philly will create a ton of opportunities. I'm saying that you guys get a goal because I think they did concede more than a few opportunities to the Fire. And it just Chicago could not take advantage. They could not take advantage. And if they had bagged one or two of those early flurry of opportunities, you just never know how that game would have ended.
Not only that, they just barely escaped the fire in game 1 as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. So you guys will have opportunities, but you don't have your most clinical person out there to finish them. And that's what will be the demise of this team, unfortunately. So I'm going to say Philly 2-1. Hector?
The supporters show curse does not come into play for this one.
Oh, interesting.
Does not come into play. So I am taking Philadelphia, and I do agree. I do agree with the 2-1 notion.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. John.
Number one reason to move the calendar for the future so stuff like this doesn't happen to poor Davi, where he doesn't have his star player because we have a stupid international break in the middle of the playoffs. So Davi, I feel for you, bro, because that sucks. And I think, like you mentioned, the other key players out for you, like Perea, my boy, watching him break his leg, that was horrible, man. And he's a key player in there. And I think without those guys, it's going to be a little bit too much from Philly. It will be tight. You guys will make it difficult, but I think at home they've got the edge.
Yeah, I think so too. So it'll be tight. Again, I
like
still think
a 1-0 or a 2-1.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go back and forth for sure. But man, I tell you what, if NYCFC does get the first goal, I'd be really curious to see how Janssen adjusts and how long they can hang on for. That's a key storyline that I'm looking at.
Not only that, our sporting director role is vacant. So with the injuries of Perea and Martinez, I think the job just got a lot more attractive.
Yeah.
So because you get to bring in those guys.
He's been good. You picked him up at the beginning of the year, Davi, and I was like, I don't know about this guy, but he's proven it. He's a good coach.
He's good. I'm telling you guys, he was good. Telling you.
He's no Nick Cushing, but All right, let's move into San Diego.
You're right. You're right. He is no Nick Cushing.
Jose just threw a bomb and ran out the door.
Yeah, bro. I like that. I like Nick Cushing. All right. So going into the final matchup of the weekend, Monday night, it will be the final game of the West. We somewhat alluded to how we feel this game could go in the lead up to this whole segment of the show. But San Diego, the number 1 seed in the West, hosting the unlikely visitor in Minnesota. I think many fans, I should say, backed the experience of Seattle to make it through that series. And especially considering the form they were in late in the regular season. And none of that translated over. While they got one win in that 3-game series, Minnesota got it done in the scrappiest way possible. And they're here now. And it was kind of crazy is that they're not just here, they're kind of confident. Like watching Dane St. Clair do interviews after each one of those best of 3 matches, this team just got a little bit of swagger. I don't know if that's them being naive as a fairly group of young players. I don't know if it comes with the system Ramsey has implemented, but make no mistake, I think Minnesota is the surprise team here across the board, across both conferences. And I think it's going to be easy for everyone to write them off. Does Minnesota have a realistic chance of going out to San Diego getting this dub?
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
If they continue this terrorist football that they're playing, absolutely.
Bro, I mean, to be fair, terrorist football does not let in as many goals as they let in that series against Seattle. I will say that.
That is so unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful terrorist football. Right?
Successful, but just not that good.
Yeah.
They haven't mastered it fully.
Yeah, they definitely haven't mastered it, bro. Because I mean, that game 2 was like an insane match. I just remember watching it, thinking like, what are we doing? Like this defense is just wide open.
That shootout in game 3 was crazy as well.
Yeah. It's just and this team right now in playoffs is still very wishy-washy, in my opinion. Like there's still moments where I'm like, I don't know if they understand the urgency that has to come with some of these phases of play, especially when they're losing. And I do believe they will go down in this game. They will go down to this high-powered San Diego offense at some point. It's just a matter of how they choose to bounce back from that. I don't know if they have enough.
They didn't actually beat Seattle, right? They got 2 draws and penalties. Like I know Minnesota fans will hate me saying that, but you didn't convincingly beat a team in any of those 3 games.
I basically said that earlier.
Yeah, right. You conceded a lot of goals, and you didn't actually get a clean win in any of those 3 games. And you look at the firepower that Seattle has, and then you think about San Diego's firepower up front, which has arguably been even better this year. I don't think you can keep them out. And if you're not scoring, like, I don't know how they managed to score 5 goals against Seattle for a team that plays terrorist football. That seems pretty lucky in some ways. Like, if transition ball doesn't work for them and they can't keep the team out and they can't keep it to a clean sheet, then you have no chance playing that kind of ball. Like, the only way it works is if you are actually defensively solid and you make the most of your counterattacking opportunities. And I feel like they aren't doing both of those particularly well so far in this series.
Yeah, I agree. I think the transition
Dreyer's
moments.
gonna have a field day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think the transition moments are what's key for them. I think John's 100% right. Like you have to play well in transition. My biggest gripe of, in my opinion, their most technical midfielder, he is the biggest criminal when it comes to transition moments. Pereira,
Oh,
yeah. Bro, he pisses me off. Like, it's just like, dude, if I'm Ramsey, I'm yelling at him. I'm losing my voice. I'm yelling so much on the field because he is the king of just taking the ball in transition
and just killing it.
And killing it. The team does not have numbers back. Why are you letting Seattle come back, get into their formation, set up a mid block, and make it super difficult for you guys to figure out a way in? Like, what? Why? What is the logic around that? Are you not confident enough in your ability to push in, create that counterattacking moment? Hell, if you don't want to do it yourself, whip an early ball in and create and just cause the controversy, the havoc, right? Do something that forces that back line to question what they're doing and how they're moving. But if you just make it easy for them, give them a fucking layup, like, what are we doing, bro? Like, that has to be a point of friction and contention in those video sessions that they're doing, the review sessions. Like, this has to be something that Ramsey's calling out, because I noticed it in the watch-alongs Dobby and I were doing for some of this series. It was mind-boggling to me. Could not figure it out. With that said, here's how they lined up in the last matchup that they played against one another. Keep in mind, they played each other twice, once at each respective home venue. The home team lost in each game. Crazy kind of head-to-head, I think, going into this matchup. But you kind of see how it all panned out. And you can see, right, the prime Haram ball, the 5-4-1 at times was very much a 5-5-0 for Minnesota. They're definitely going to run that shit again. I mean, that, make no mistake about it. They're going to do that against the likes of Lozano, Dreyer, and Pellegrino. So with that in mind, when we talk about what we expect in this game, how long do you think? Can Minnesota keep a clean sheet for the first half?
If they do, their chances of winning the game go up exponentially. Like, it's like we were talking about with the Cincy Miami thing, right? The longer it's 0-0, the more that favors Minnesota to steal one on the transition. If San Diego get a goal or 2 goals in the first half, it's almost impossible mountain decline at that point. Yeah,
it's over, John. 2-0 at halftime. I'm like, I'm not saying I'll stop watching, but I'm like,
it'll be like USA Uruguay, where you're like, well, this is done.
Yeah, I'm getting on my phone a little bit more throughout the second half. Maybe watching, a couple TikToks, a couple Instagram reels. We'll see. But the game's still on in the background. Still kind of watching it.
Eric Ramsey with the Strikulous future system, man. Maybe 10 years from now we'll look back and be like, he was a pioneer. We don't know.
But bro, I don't blame him, because they literally sold their best attacker to La Liga in the middle of the season and don't reinforce the position. I mean, like what do you want him to do, right? It's like, Yeboah, go work some magic, bro. You haven't been the go-to guy for us all year, but I need you to be that guy right now against the most high-powered, high-octane offense in the league. It's just like, man, I don't know. It's a very, very big ask. And I don't think if they do go out here, even if they crash and burn on their way out, I don't know if you can look at Ramsey and say he didn't do the job. He definitely did the job to get them to where they are up to this point. Hector, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say, especially if, like, once this midfield figure out a way to get Dreyer the ball. I'm intrigued about the Chucky Lozano storyline. Maybe that's the one thing Minnesota can probably get something favorable. But hey, without Chucky, Dreyer just went off. So I mean, it clearly doesn't matter. But if Minnesota's looking for that one thing, that one chink in the armor, Chucky Lozano.
Provided that he's not showing up super motivated for whatever reason, right? Like
the one chook in the armor.
The one chook in the armor, 100%. If he shows up and bags an assist or a couple assists to Dreyer, whatever it might be, find Pellegrino on a header, whatever it might be. I mean, dude, it's just like they have more than a few different options to take you down with, and that's the issue, right? We compare to Minnesota, you have one, maybe 2 options who could give you some kind of spark if you do create the transition moments that you're looking for, and that's still a pretty big if. But with all of this said, playoffs introduce that layer of magic. Can we see a Cinderella moment for Minnesota one more time to take them into the Western Conference Final? I don't know. Let's predict it. Let's get our predictions in, lads. John, let's start with you. We'll work way around.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say San Diego. The Cinderella story continues. I think it's a 2-0. Just simple.
Yeah. Oh man. And I, you know what? I kind of agree. And the way I think it goes is that they probably find a way to keep San Diego out for a long time, right? Maybe 60, 65 minutes. And then one goal leads to two very quickly. And it's just one of these where the floodgate opened. You kind of mentally give up at that point because everything you've tried was working until it didn't. And that's all she wrote. I'm going to say 2-0 too, with both goals coming pretty quickly after the breakthrough. Hector?
Yeah, I'm not picking Minnesota.
All right, fair enough. I just didn't know, maybe someone's going to back the upset here. Davi?
It pissed me off.
I want to, but I can't.
I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. If anybody made a bracket out there, take a screenshot and throw that in the comments, bro. If anybody had Minnesota going to the Western Conference Final, I got to see it for myself.
You're probably a Minnesota fan.
That's fair. That's fair, bro. Loons fans included. I got to see it to believe it, man. If you got them going through, if you somehow get that right, bro, throw in the comments down below. We'll figure out some sort of prize to give away. I swear to God. It'd be so impressive. I have to reward it with something. It'd be I don't know, a kit from your favorite MLS team, whatever. I'll throw that into the video right now because I think it would be amazing to see someone predict that, and especially if it came true. But either way, we got a clean sweep for San Diego going through into the Western Conference Final, which would, again, still be massive. You look at how good this team is and probably think it's probably expected, but they're still in their inaugural season as an MLS franchise. It would be a massive step for them to take to go into the Western Conference Final.
They've done better than, I'd say, 99.9% of expansion clubs in year one. So.
Yeah, or expectations for an expansion club. So I think it's a crazy feat to talk about how far they could go. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That is our preview, our predictions for round 2 matches of the 2025 MLS Cup playoffs. We're back. I know it's been 2 weeks. I know some of us are still kind of remembering, right, with the holiday season and everything else, that playoffs are still years. They're still a thing, right? But again, guys, keep coming back, keep tuning in. We appreciate you. If you enjoy MLS content like this, guys, do me a favor, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel. You see the creators on your screen: Hector from Insert Name FC, Davi from the Blue Burrows Pod, John from Loud and Proud Orlando. All of their links are going to be down in the description notes below. Go check out their channels. While the majority of us outside of Davi are out of playoffs already, the content never stops. So go check them out, go show them some love, and we appreciate you here on the channel as well. All right. So from everybody here at Wake Up MLS and Golz TV, my name is Jose. That's Davi. That's John. That's Hector. We'll catch you guys next time.